Okay, let's do this. So this is a video about trying to flatten the ground. So I'm going to import the GLB file you sent me. This is the cleanup one that I made, poly 2. That's on ground level. So this is top view. So are you saying that the orientation is correct, but the start position is here, like this? Right, kind of like this, right? If this is the case, then let me know if that's the case. Okay, so as you can see, the mesh has all kinds of weird artifacts here, right? Especially things that float in the air, right? As you can see, and they're not ground level. So what you have to do is you have to select all the meshes here on the ground and then flatten it, right? And so the way to do that is a little bit complicated, right? So first off is you want to go into edit mode. So in Blender, you hit tab, it goes into edit mode. Now you can see all the triangles associated, right? And so what you want to do is you want to select all the triangles on the ground and then flatten them. And what you do is you click on this one, basically see through. Basically, when you select something like this, it selects all of the meshes, everything. And so what I do is to do selection, I just go and hit W to change it to a circle so that I can just click and drag and select it. And I can change the size. Maybe I can change it to 50 so I can select it much easier like this. And then if you let go your mouse and you want to continue selecting, hit shift and you continue to hold on to whatever you had before. So what I usually do is I go from the top view and I select all the ground stuff here. I want to make sure that I don't select the wooden boards there on top. I think these are the boards here, right? So I'm just going to select the ground. And then I'm going to select through it. Is that right? This is the one that's hard. You can go around like this, and then make sure you want to make sure you don't select any of the other stuff that you don't want to flatten. Okay, do something like this. All right, I want to make sure I can. Oh, I accidentally selected. I'll clean it up in a bit. If you accidentally select something, you can use Control click to unselect it. But let me just keep doing this first. Oh, I also accidentally selected that, so I hit Control, and that wipes it, cleans it up. So I accidentally selected those as well. Okay, so now hit Shift and continue selecting. I think this is also ground. You don't want to go too close to the side because usually to the side it's like an angle. It slopes upwards, but if you flatten it, then it looks really weird. I'll show you in a bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. And then go around like this. Alright, so you kind of have to ground select it, right? Oh, except I selected this piece here. Don't want this, don't want that. Let me clean it up a little bit. Maybe I can be more accurate here. You can select all this, right? You want to select this one as well. Oh, you probably also need to select over here. So let me zoom in here. So the more time you spend doing this, the more accurate it gets, right? Obviously, the result will be much better, but depending on how much time you want to spend. Okay, so like this, right? And then if you go back to this view, you see that now I've selected mainly the ground areas, right? And you don't want to go too close to the side here. Okay, so now in order to do that, if I go to this view, you see that the mesh is up and down. But if I hit scale, S, and then Z, which is the up and down coordinate, Z, and I hit 0, you see everything is flattened, right? And you hit enter. So scale, Z coordinate, or Z coordinate, since you're based in Australia, it hit 0. So now the floor is flat. The thing here is you notice because you flatten the floor, now the transition from the slope to the flattened area is much more drastic. So it doesn't look very good, especially at the end here. So you can see if I go over to the end here, you see that huge transition. All of a sudden it just drops, right? And so it's not a really good way, but it's a quick way. So if I go back to render mode, you see what I mean. Now you see that slope. It's probably not there in the real bay, right? But now, if you look at the ground, let me do this. Yeah, you have a really flat surface now that you can drop fault lines and stuff. So now that you have a flat surface, what you want to do is there are a lot of duplicate meshes here. If you look at this, there's a lot of mesh here that you really don't need, and it slows down the computer. In order to clean this up, what you do is go into edit mode, which is tab, and then you do A to select all, right? And then when you right click on this, you see this thing called merge vertices, and you can select merge vertices by distance. So what it does is, if there's anything that's on top of each other, it will just replace it with one, right? So as you can see here, there was a status down here that says it removed 500,000 vertices. So it saves you a lot of space. So this model is much smaller and cleaner. So there you go. That's how you get a flat ground. Unfortunately, with this method, you can't really fix the textures here. There's another method which is much more extensive, much longer to do, but you can actually clean up these textures. Okay, so that's it. So then all you have to do is just export back to GLTF, and let's call this poly3. So now if you look at the file size, poly2 original file size was 84 megs, right? And then after cleaning out all the vertices, now it's dropped to 59 megs. So much smaller now. The smaller you can get, obviously, the smaller the number of vertices, the less detailed your model is, but it's much more quicker and much more efficient for the system to handle. There you go. Hope that helps.